What's up, my friends? I'm a fighter. You're a fighter. A lot of you out there, you're fighters. All right, we are in multiple wars. So, the advice that I'm about to give you may seem counterproductive, but hear me out. Surrender. That does not mean you don't fight. That just means some of the fights that you are involved with, you have to cast aside. Now, I put out a video speaking on how to choose your battles wisely, or that you should choose your battles wisely. So my thinking is that I'm gonna go more in depth with that. Okay. So one thing that you need to surrender is your need to correct everybody. All right. People are always going to see things the way that they tend to see it. They're going to see you the way they want to see you. You go around thinking you are flipping all of these switches, and really what you're doing is wasting time, spending time that could be used towards some of your greater battles. All right. And people are going to think what they want to think anyway. As I had somebody remind me that not too long ago, something I was listening to. So you might as well let them. You might as well let them say it, whatever it is. They're going to think it anyway. So, what is it all worth to get a person to change what they say? All right. If you can't change what they believe, then that's it. And we keep convincing ourselves, obviously, through our actions, that we can change somebody's point of view. And we're such geniuses that we think we can do it by telling them that they're wrong, they're stupid, all of these things. And like I said before, it just strengthens their opinion. So you're especially not going to be able to get through to them. Would people be able to get through to you by calling you stupid, by saying you're wrong? But no, you're going to get defensive. Just like you should expect for them to get defensive. So you surrender to things like that and let people have their thing. All right? If you want people to see your point of view, you present it in a certain way that isn't attacking people. All right? But even still, that may be a battle not worth facing, depending on who you're dealing with. If you know somebody doesn't change their mind based on things being presented to them, even in a diplomatic way, then you know that's not a battle worth fighting. You got to surrender those things. And surrender going back and forth with people on the internet. You said what you said. Whatever you believe, you believe. And if you disagree with these people in a way where you feel like you got to argue or debate with them or whatever, then they may not be the people that you need to be affiliating with. All right? Now, obviously, there's something that's always going to bring us together, so you don't necessarily have to unfollow them or unfriend them or block them. But, hey, it may come down to that, and, it's not worth holding on to somebody out of familiarity. All right? So you surrender to things like that. And you got to surrender to the things that you can't control, which kind of sums up what I'm just saying. It's just like, you don't know if your company is going out of business, the company you're working for. You don't know if what you're doing is going to fail. As far as, let's say you run your own business. You don't know. So what you do know is that you can put as much effort as possible into ensuring that it doesn't, or coming up with some backup plans that won't necessarily cause you to settle, but you like building a safety net of sorts. All right, so I remember Steve Smith Sr., football player, wide receiver. I remember him saying that he worked so hard in his career, which he'll end up being a Hall of Famer for sure, because of the fear of going back to nothing. So, and this is an interesting thing. Not only was he running away from something, he was running towards something. So when you know where you're running from and you know where you're going, you have something to keep a fire under your ass. All right? So that's an especially good thing. And that's how you drown out your fear of particular things. All right? And especially if you are worried about where you are in life, what's to come, all of these things, the last thing you want to do is fill up that block of time that you could use towards a fight, your fight, to pay close attention to other people's fruits. You know, they're what do they call it? Spills or spoils? Spills, spoils. They're spoils. Let's just go with spoils. I think it's the spoils. But basically what they win in victory. And that's a lot of the reason why social media is making us more anxious, more depressed, and all of these things. It's because, again, I'm going to keep saying this, because we're comparing our lowlights to their highlights. Alright, so how can you win like that? You know, how can you be motivated by that? I mean, of course, you can, but a lot of us won't, because we are already comparing ourselves to other people. And once we're doing that, it's close to impossible. In fact, well, let's just say the odds are stacked against us that we're actually going to get the right fuel from this. All right. For some, our bitterness takes over, and we want to talk down on successful people because we're bitter, but we can't just say that. And for others, we're down on ourselves because we see our peers or all these other people seem like they're going places in life, and we just on the hamster wheel. We just stuck here. And none of that is going to help you amongst the other negative things that feelings that you can experience from comparing yourself to somebody else. None of those things are going to help you get to where you want to go, unless you find yourself disgusted by constantly doing this. And I definitely think disgust is a powerful tool, as I said in one of my videos. Definitely go check that out. So again, the comparison, you surrender from things like that, because it's all about adding to your own personal fight. Now, because I like to put this in perspective, is that, you know, when I talk about choosing our battles wisely, battles, yes, we're dealing with multiple battles. We are dealing with mental health issues, financial issues, love issues, all of these things. And you really got to sit down and, you know, compile a list, tangible, intangible, in your mind, whatever it is, of the things that are really important to you. And anything that's not on that list, you should not be paying attention to. Right? Wouldn't you agree? And doesn't that simplify things for you? Doesn't make it easy, but easy isn't synonymous with simple. You know? Just is as simple as, well, how do I get rich? You know, it's simple how to get rich, but it may not be easy. Or how to work for myself, you know, or how to make more, you know, just whatever it may be. Like, you may find that the concept is easy, but it's simple, but in practice, it's not easy. But again, one of the best tools that you can have for yourself, because our mind constantly forgets things, is to simplify it by writing it down, recording it, saying it over and over again, reading it over and over again, whatever you have to do to really get it in your mind. Because you feel dumber and dumber the more you have to keep coming to the same conclusion, because you can't learn from your mistakes. You just have to tell a person where they are wrong. You know, you just have to keep comparing yourself to somebody else. You know, knowing like, but if you put it on the flip side, that person wasn't comparing themselves to other people, and that's how they got to where they were. You know, they didn't spend time comparing. They were working. They were putting in work. They were competing. They weren't just working hard. They had a vision. You know? And when you surrender, you leave a void that opens, that really opens up the opportunity for you to pursue greater things. Alright? So, as I get older, I start to understand this more and more, is that you don't stoop down to somebody else's level. Meaning you would have to backtrack. Meaning you would have to turn around when you're supposed to be driving forward. You're going to crash like that. You ain't got to worry about them crashing, because they probably already crashed. Or, you know, they aren't as far down the road as you. They aren't driving at all. Whatever it is. Or, you know, they stopped on the side of the road. You know when you drive and there's been a car accident, and everybody got to go look, see how bad the damage is. No, you focus on where you're going. Alright? Man, get the fuck out the way. Why everybody stopping to look at what's happening to them? Why are you paying attention to all that tragedy? And why you riding in your hoopty, about to crash what you do have, paying attention to this Tesla over there, this Ferrari? You might accidentally bump into that, you know? No. You just focus on where you are going. So you surrender. You surrender to the fact that right now I don't have what I want. I might have to eat beans out of a can. You know? I definitely been there. In fact, I don't even mind. I don't mind because so long as I'm handling business and other aspects, I keep fighting my wars, and I keep understanding, having a vision for where I'm going to go. I mean, goddamn, I can eat a shit sandwich for all I care, and I'm serious about this. I'm serious about this. A lot of us, because we internalize a lot what's going on, the monotony, the hamster wheel, and all that, we can't see beyond it. You know, and I'm willing to suffer more than that because I know where I'm going. You see how that works? It may be an inconvenience, but I'll go back to sleeping in my car. You know, if it means that someday I'll have the option of sleeping in a mansion. Now, I don't necessarily want a mansion, something spacey, a loft type thing. That'd be good for me. You know, I don't mind taking a loss and losing more than the average man, so I could have more than the average man. But this is why you gotta have this vision, all right? And this is why you don't internalize everything that's going on right now, and you don't. And again, because I don't know how clear I was, the best way to not internalize what's going on in your life right now is, one, of course, surrendering to the fact that it is what it is right now, but also establishing that, the deck gets shuffled. The tides turn. Fate changes. Alright? This is why when you're on top, you don't kick a man when he's down. Or you think you're on your way up, you don't kick a man when he's down. You don't do things like that. Because that can very easily be your fate. At one point it was your fate, but you lost sight of that, or you never quite accepted that. And when you never quite accept reality for what it is, you're liable to miss a couple things along the way. Just sit right back down, because you ain't learn. All of our tribulations and trials supposed to humble us, allow us to grow, so we can help other people along the way, and they can grow. You know what I'm saying? This is what's supposed to happen. But when you ain't getting the lessons, they bound to repeat and or get worse. And I understand that the tougher you are, the tougher the battles get, so you can say that gets worse. But when you fully equipped to deal with these things, it doesn't sting as much as not equipping yourself at all and having to deal with it. Losing control of every goddamn thing because you've been hiding, you've been running. You're surrendering to the wrong wars. All right? We're surrendering that. Okay, nobody in my family ever had big money, so maybe that's the case for me. A lot of us surrender. Like, we may not outright say it, but we make this settlement in our actions. And the wars that we do continue to fight is with other people who haven't found their way. Call them low lives, call them whatever it is, but other people who haven't found their way, we fight with them. We bicker with them. And that gets kind of engraved in our paradigm. So now we don't go around expecting anything other than that. That's all we see. That's all we know. All these things. So I just want to wrap this up by just saying, no matter what wars you're going through, no matter what problems you have, seek greater wars. Seek greater problems. Okay, because you're always going to have problems. But the greater your problems, the more excited you should be. Alright? And that's all I'm saying. But again, and also, understand that you don't have to have all the answers right now. Just keep putting it out into the universe. You got to have more faith. And you have more faith by doing righteous deeds. By practicing what you can practice right now. Doing all that you can do right now. Even when it's not sexy. Even when you're dealing with fear of missing out. All of these things. It'll all be worth it. You just have to keep thinking beyond your circumstances, and that's how a lot of people get to where they are. But it's okay if you can't see that far, and it's okay if you can see that far. But the only thing you can do is take a couple of steps here and there, because once you start taking more steps, you start to see even more steps. You start to see where you can go from here. All right. That's the life of a pioneer. All right. That's the life of taking the road less traveled. So we all want these things that most people don't have. Well, you have to do things that most people don't do. All right. Everybody's hoping for something greater. Everybody would want something greater. Everybody would wish for something greater, but their actions say otherwise. All right. So surrender, but keep fighting. Pick your wars.